The Blackwell RTX upgrade to GeForce NOW Ultimate has arrived, and in this video we're going to be breaking down absolutely everything you need to know in one go. I have been hands-on with it, and I will be posting more content surrounding it this entire week, so stay tuned to the channel and subscribe to not miss out. But let's begin by answering what exactly is the Blackwell RTX upgrade. Well, it's the introduction of NVIDIA's new RTX 5080 SuperPODs to GeForce NOW Ultimate. It's a major performance leap with a total of 62 teraflops of performance available. That puts it at 3 times faster than a PlayStation 5 Pro, and even 2.8 times faster than the previous GeForce NOW RTX 4080 SuperPODs. But why does it matter for cloud gaming? Well, for a variety of reasons, because it brings new technologies and features to the cloud, such as DLSS 4, full-on ray tracing, ray reconstruction, DLSS multi-frame generation, DLSS super resolution for up to 5K 120fps streaming, and it enables new options like 360 fps 1080p, 240 fps at 1440p, cinematic quality streaming for the highest visual experience from any cloud service available. Not to mention, we also get other benefits like install to play titles and higher performance on more devices than ever before. Of course, we'll be going more in depth to all of those and more in this video, but now let's move on to the second topic. Let's break down exactly what these new RTX features are and how they improve our experience. At the heart of everything, we have DLSS 4, which brings things like multi-frame generation and enhanced ray reconstruction along with super resolution. That might sound like a lot of fancy words, but we'll try and break it down to the simplest terms. Basically, you can expect some of the highest frame rates you've ever seen with some of the highest end visuals you've seen to date. This is all thanks to the RTX 50 series GPUs and 5th generation tensor cores and of course AI. Ray reconstruction with the new transformer model looks better than ever, and it really gets rid of a lot of the issues that the CNN model had for previous generations. In a case like Cyberpunk 2077, they've shown us examples where you get 26 FPS with DLSS off, full ray tracing on, but turn on DLSS 4, keep ray tracing on, and see that frame rate skyrocket to 235. Now there are some limitations to this, and it will slightly increase the latency that you might be experiencing. In my own testing, I'd really recommend sticking to 2 times multi-frame generation when you're playing a single player title and you really want that cinematic experience with a fluid frame rate. But if you're into the competitive multiplayer side, maybe play with it off. Thankfully speaking though, most multiplayer games aren't that demanding to run. If you ask me, this feature is absolutely perfect for single player titles that are a visual feast though. Last but not least, we have DLSS super resolution, which allows you to boost performance by using AI to output higher resolution frames from a lower resolution input. This is exactly how you achieve that 5K resolution at 120 FPS. Now individually, these features are a pretty big deal, but when you culminate them all together, it's why this is such a big leap for cloud gaming. I think it's often forgotten that when it comes to cloud gaming, GeForce NOW is the only one who's actually powered by NVIDIA's newest technology. And there's a very good reason why they lead the GPU market, because their technology does make a difference, and therefore it'll make a difference when it comes to the cloud as well. And one of those major differences is going to be our very next topic, cinematic quality streaming. This new feature may very well be the biggest deal in my opinion, and it's going to be kinda hard to show here, so bear with me. Alongside cinematic quality streaming, or CQS for short, we have the introduction of YUV 444 color accuracy and 10-bit HDR. It also comes with AI filtering and sharpness for crisp heads-up display and text, and of course a new upper limit of 100 megabits per second streaming for max fidelity. But what exactly does CQS do? Let me put it like this. If you've ever done cloud streaming, you would notice that sometimes in wide open areas where there's a lot of foliage, you'll see a lot of artifacting. Another part of games where you may see this sort of issue occur is in dark areas. CQS helps tremendously fight against that, and I gotta say, it's actually done a pretty significant job in my opinion. I'm very susceptible to seeing artifacting when it happens, and it's always kind of bothered me when doing cloud gaming. It's something I pointed out quite a few times, and while I won't say that this is a perfect solution, I gotta say it is a whole lot better than what we've had previously. It is absolutely an incredible step forward, and one that's extremely welcome. In my testing, it made a major difference for a game like Chronos The New Dawn, where it's a harder experience, and having that artifacting in dark spots really does kind of ruin the immersion. Now when you mix CQS with YUV 444 and HDR 10-bit support, that really does make a huge difference. But sadly, that's a bit of a harder one to show via YouTube. This is one of those cases where you're gonna have to experience it yourself to really see the major difference, but let me put it like this, color accuracy is way better. The game looks much more convincing, like it's running on local hardware than ever before, before, and this plays a major part in it. The best way I can describe it is that without it, sometimes cloud gaming looks a little bit off, like it's just slightly washed out, but with these changes, it removes that issue completely. And of course, HDR looks better than ever with 10-bit support. If you have a good monitor or TV, display, whatever, it looks fantastic. Of course, it is recommended that you have at least 100 megabits per second connection for this level of fidelity, but let me just say that if you do, it's a great experience, way above the rest. But what's the point of all these visuals without great games to play? And well, with Install to Play, they're expanding the library to almost double of what's available right now. But what is Install to Play and how does it differ from Ready to Play? Up until now, every 2,300 plus games on GeForce Now have been ready to play. These games are pre-installed for members, they're always kept up to date, and they let you stream instantly as soon as you click play. Now, this sort of process is really good to have, but it does take some onboarding and work on NVIDIA's side. Install to Play is a new method being introduced that allows games that opt into GeForce Now to be readily available for members to play at a much faster rate. Now, as the name suggests, games need to be downloaded directly onto cloud storage, mirroring the experience of installing them on your local gaming PC. Now, what this does is that it allows GeForce Now to total its game library to well over 4,500 games, easily doubling that of what's currently there. And using Install to Play is extremely simple. In fact, I'll showcase it here. Simply find the game you want to play, click the green install button, launch into Steam, download the game, and play. It really is that simple, and yeah, it does take a little bit longer than playing a ready-to-play title, but the NVIDIA GeForce Now servers are pretty fast at downloading, and you won't be waiting too long. Now, I do want to point out that Install to Play works in two methods. Single session storage, which is included as part of your membership at no extra cost. Now, it does come with 100 gigabytes total. If you need more than that, well, then you're going to have to upgrade to the second method, which is persistent storage. Now, as the name implies, single session storage works per session. So if you install and play a game, then quit, and then come back to it and want to play it again, you're going to have to install to play it again. But if you have persistent storage, you can actually keep it, and that way you won't have to actually download it again the next time you launch it until you remove it from your storage. It is also important to point out that if the Steam game you want to play doesn't support cloud saves, you're going to need persistent storage to actually save your progress. Now, there aren't many games that don't support cloud saves, but just be aware that there are a few, so keep that in mind. The pricing for persistent storage add-ons will be available at the following prices: 200 gigabytes for $2.99 a month, 500 gigabytes for $4.99 a month, and 1 terabyte for $7.99 a month. Genuinely speaking, not bad pricing whatsoever, but I do also want to answer some questions that I know are going to come up. Install to Play does not mean every single game on Steam is going to be available to play via GeForce Now. So if you're looking to play certain games from a certain publisher that aren't already on the service, well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's probably not going to be the case. And that's because games still need to be opted into GeForce Now via Steam for them to show up on Install to Play. And the answer to the second question that I expect to get asked a lot, no, this doesn't enable mod support. And the third question I want to answer is that yes, this will include support for certain demos that opt in. As you can tell, I'm playing one right now. Next, let's talk about low latency streaming and competitive gaming. The addition of 360 FPS support at 1080p and 240 at 1440p is quite a game changer. The technology included in GeForce Now, like Reflex, can actually lead to sub 30 millisecond latency. This is of course under ideal conditions, but I really gotta say it's quite impressive what they achieved here. In my testing, I decided to check out Counter-Strike 2, and I played it at 1440p 240Hz. And I gotta say, they really did it. Even with 40 ping on my connection, I was really shocked at how smooth the game felt. By no means am I an expert at CS2. I'm actually pretty bad at the game, but I can see and feel the difference that 240 FPS brings to the table. It felt good enough to really aim for their head and make the shot count. But the low latency improvements don't stop there. Playing Overwatch 2 at 360 FPS 1080p was quite amazing. It's a game where tracking is key, and being able to make those snap adjustments really matter. For those who really care about their competitive gaming sessions via the cloud, this is a huge upgrade, and I'm sure that you'll be enjoying it. Just adding my 2 cents here, but I do believe that 1440p at 240 FPS is definitely a sweet spot. Now, it's important and worth mentioning that Reflex and Cloud G-Sync definitely do a lot of the heavy lifting here as well in terms of improving latency, but it doesn't stop there, as NVIDIA is also partnering with ISPs for L4S, a way to improve latency even further, and I think this is a great thing to see. Now, let's talk about device support and performance. This new upgrade will support 90 FPS on Steam Deck, 120 FPS on a Lenovo Legion Go, 4K 120 FPS on supported LG GTVs, and up to 5K 120fps streaming on PC and Macs with RTX 5080. These are all extremely welcome additions. The one that I use most though is definitely the Steam Deck, and I gotta say it looks even better running at 90fps. My Steam Deck OLED really shines when streaming games via GeForce Now, and I cannot really stress enough just how much better it makes that handheld. You can play plenty of games that wouldn't normally run on the Steam Deck, and it enables you to run them at high fidelity settings to have the most crisp experience possible. Best of all though is the amount of battery power you save. You can have long gaming sessions on your Steam Deck OLED, and it's just a really great time. Now, aside from being able to take advantage of higher frame rates on all these things, there is another device that is supported now, and that's racing wheel peripherals. Sadly, I haven't been able to do the testing myself just yet, but as somebody who loves racing games and does have a wheel setup of their own, I know just how important this feature set is for many of us out there. Now, I do want to point out that I will get to the testing as soon as I can. My wheel setup is a T300RS from Thrustmaster, but the ones that they tested officially with GeForce Now are the Logitech G29 and G920. Now, I do want to point out that the wheel peripherals currently only work with native Windows and Mac OS GFN apps. I know it's been a long time coming for many of us out there who've been wanting this feature request. In fact, I know plenty of you watching this video are probably from the Stadion Racing League. I'm just happy to say that there is finally an option in the cloud to take that racing game experience to a higher level with a wheel. Now, at this point, I just want to remind you that I will be covering a lot more of these things further in depth throughout the week, so stay subscribed to the channel to not miss out, especially if you want to see some Steam Deck OLED footage. It really is impressive seeing that run at 90fps with maxed out settings on some really big AAA titles. Now, moving on to the next segment, I actually want to talk about some advantages of playing on the cloud versus local gaming. Now, these aren't exclusive to the upgrade happening, but I do think it's worth pointing out some of these benefits, and they're quite nice to have, I'm not gonna lie. No longer having to download and manage storage on your local device is a big one. Having instant access to your games across a multitude of devices is another one. Seriously, I can go from playing on my PC to my TV to my Steam Deck, my phone, and more. If I was trying to do this on a bunch of local gaming devices, I would need not only multiple devices, but multiple copies of the same game. Let's also not forget that cloud syncing is a big thing, so being able to just sync your save files and libraries wherever you are is a huge win. Let's not forget about the money cost saved as well. Buying hardware is expensive. Buying hardware to match what GeForce Now Ultimate can do, even more so. And with additions like persistent storage add-ons for install to play, well, they're just expanding the amount of ways you can access your games more than ever before. Now, will I say cloud gaming is for everyone? No, some people will still benefit off local gaming. But if you have the network infrastructure to try it out and see what it's like, I highly advise you do so. Now more than ever, I truly believe that cloud gaming is a suitable way to play your games, whether you're a single player gamer or a multiplayer gamer. The new additions like cinematic quality streaming, 240fps support, 360fps support, 5K support, and more, they just all really lean into both those who want to have a cinematic quality gaming experience or those who really want to try hard in a competitive space. Now, I won't sit here and tell you that it's one for one the same experience, but it's seriously close nowadays, and this new upgrade really showcases just how far cloud gaming has come. And more importantly, it'll give us a good idea of how much further cloud gaming can go in the years to come. Now, to wrap this whole video up, let's quickly go over all the membership tiers, their cost, and what they include. Up first is the free tier. It's a basic introduction to GeForce Now. You'll get standard access to the servers, limited session lengths. You can expect some decent frame rates here and there, but it is introductory level, so don't expect any benefits of RTX, ray tracing, or any of the bells and whistles. It's also worth mentioning that this is ad supported and will only give you access to ready to play games, no install to play. A step above that, we have the performance tier. This is priority access to the servers, higher class GPUs that can enable RTX for stunning visuals, and up to 1440p 60fps with extended 6-hour session lengths. Do note that this will give you access to install to play games with single session storage. So beginning with performance, you have access to over 4,000 games, doubling that of just ready to play titles. This comes in priced at $9.99 a month and has no ads whatsoever. And last but not least, we have the ultimate tier, which begins priced at $19.99 a month. Once again, there are no ads for this tier, and it gives you exclusive access to the latest RTX 5080 GPU servers. Now, it's important to point out that these begin rolling out this month in September, but it is a rollout process, so be aware that maybe your closest server won't don't have them just yet. Now, if you happen to be around San Jose, Los Angeles, Chicago, or Newark in the United States, or Frankfurt, Germany, and Paris, France, you'll be the first to experience the power of these new 5080 SuperPODs. Stay tuned for every GFN Thursday as they will be spotlighting every new city that gets added. And if you're worried about install to play, worry not, because the install to play feature will be available globally starting day one. Now, once again, Ultimate is feature packed. It gives you access to 5K 120 FPS on PC and Mac, 1080p 3060 FPS on PC and Mac, 4K 60 FPS on Shield, or up to 1440p 1600p at 240 FPS on PC and Mac, and 1440p and 1600p 120 FPS on Chrome OS. Not to mention the other benefits of the handheld devices such as the Steam Deck OLED running at 90 FPS and the Lenovo Legion Go that can also run at 120 FPS. Now, in addition to everything else we've covered in this video, you'll also get access to 8-hour gaming sessions as well as first priority access to the queue. Typically, it means no wait time at all between you clicking play and being in your game. To put it into perspective, I've actually never seen the queue pop for the Ultimate tier as long as I've been playing it over the past few years. Now, I do want to point out that both the Premium and Ultimate tier do come with 100 hours a month, with 15 hours rolling over if you don't use them. Now, if you need more than 100 hours, you can add on time through an additional purchase. Definitely worth pointing out though if you do play a lot of games. Personally speaking, if you have the opportunity to sign up and try the Ultimate tier and you have the hardware required to really take advantage of what it can bring to the table, I highly recommend you give it a go. I will also point out that performance is pretty good too if that's all you want from it. And while the free tier does exist, I would pretty much recommend it just to make sure your connection is good to go. I actually think both Performance and Ultimate are a massive step up in terms of quality, so if you're really interested in GeForce Now, definitely consider those options. Now, the last thing I want to mention about pricing is a promotional offer happening with this new upgrade. Now, if you're looking to save some money and you know you want to commit to 12 months of Ultimate membership in one go, you can do so for $199.99. And if you decide to make that leap between now and Tuesday, September 25th, you'll get Borderlands 4 for free, which means you'll be readily available to play and enjoy the game as soon as it launches on September 11th. Definitely a great deal and a title that can take advantage fully of the 5080 class power that's available through GFN. Now, last but not least, I do want to just point out that Firefighting Simulator Ignite and Professional Fishing 2 will be joining alongside Borderlands 4 this week. This is kinda your GFN Thursday for this video, so be aware that you won't be getting one this Thursday. Instead, you'll probably get more coverage of the 5080 tier and what it can do. Regardless, that wraps up everything you need to know about these 5080 upgrades. If you have any remaining questions about this upgrade, GeForce Now, or anything cloud gaming, leave them down in the comments section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Definitely a bit of a longer video than usual on the channel, but there just was a lot to go through. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you want more like it, subscribe to not miss out. As always, this has been Steven from Anytime Anywhere Gaming, wishing you a great day, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.